Alrighty, so in this video we're going to open up the file that we stored in the last video and query it and see how we can filter these things out, see what we're working with. So we're going to use Python again, Microsoft SQL, and yeah, let's just get started and get going. Let's do it. Let's make some money. Alright, so from the last video, this is basically what we did. Imported our libraries, got our API key, called it, save a file. Awesome. So we're going to take most of this data, or most of this code, and just kind of copy it over. Because like I was saying in the last video as well, we always want this stuff. Because all of our procedures use these. So to test out what we're doing, in our current environment, I like to set up that payload. Just kind of, how is it going to look coming in? How am I going to get the data I want? Now I'm going to do a file path, a file name, and a file extension. For this particular reason, if I create a parent procedure and it says, oh, hey, the file extension is JSON or JSON, then I'm going to send it to this other procedure based on, my relationship table, blah, 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 definitions, other future awesome data architecture stuff. But, on the other side, if I just sent it a string, then we're going to have to parse that string and figure out, what is the file extension? Did it have a file extension? Where does the file name begin and the path end? So being very specific with your data and grouping it or separating it into pieces makes us more flexible. So now I can declare a file path, a file name, and a file extension. And I'm going to use generic text 100. I should not have a 100 character or generic text, which is in varchar 100. I should not have extensions, names, or file paths greater than 100 each. I mean, that's pretty deep. So let's work light. If you do, I do believe we have a file path as well. I don't believe I remember what file path was. EF, it's 250. Okay, 250. So we have file path and two generic texts. I like to do this separately as well. So let's say the file path is JSON value from our payload at the location file path. We can do this a couple more times. Say file name, file extension, and just grab our stuff and throw it here. Boom, good to go. So got to keep all my declares next to each other and all of my sets below it, except for this one, because this one's going to go away. This is just our test. Actually, I'll denote that everything above this is going to disappear in our procedure. So now I want to make sure that I get this stuff. And we're going to take the data and fill it out here, because this is exactly what I need anyways. And make sure that we get our list. And this is kind of what I was talking about. It was like, if the file extension equals JSON, or, go find me the procedure that the definition JSON is linked to, so I can forward this off, so we can have CSV in here, we can have whatever we want in here, and it'll filter out for us, convert it to JSON, bubble all the way back up so we can use it. So we're not trying to figure out all this crap on the fly. but this is good enough for me. Let's say I wanted to not inject each piece right here, and I just kind of wanted to say, hey, I have a Python script. It's complete open path. So we can do that. I'm a little OCD when it comes to formatting. It just makes things legible. So I apologize for wasting time, but it's worth it in the end. And you know, what if our file path doesn't come in with a slash? What if our file path doesn't come in at all? So if the file path is not null, let's go ahead and kind of on autopilot here. Let's say, hey, set the file path is equal to, you know, if the right of the file path, right one, yep, that last character is a slash, then, you know, return the file path. Else, let's go ahead and add it. So we should be more consistent with the data that we send, but in this case, are we sending this or not? Is this truly a file path? Yeah, one line of code, right? One line of code to do this check. It might be bad on the long run, but it's going to help us on the short run, and it'll give us future optimization videos. You know, even this right here, future optimization videos. If this becomes a problem, we'll switch over to width. You know, just stuff like that. So now for the JSON section, oh, wrong way. We can, let's convert this to concat because plus on strings is actually slow and I don't want to do that video again. We do not need requests. We do need JSON and we do need our IO. Similarly, we can just say, hey, this is our complete path in our script, but we do have to create that complete path, which is our file path after the edit plus our file name dot our file extension. So that will give us our path. What is this? Let's say this is our data file now. We're going to load our data file into our JSON data. So now this will open this file and throw it in this variable. So we don't need the rest of it. Now, like I was talking about in the last video, this being similar to execute SQL is we can get an output. So we're going to declare a variable to hold our JSON data and say JSON output equals JSON data. Now I know this is going to fail a couple times, twice. I don't know if it's going to fail 3 times, but I know it's going to fail twice, and I want it to fail so we can give some insights into how awesome SQL is. So this error right here, end text, end char, and varchar, you have to do this. I hate how it makes you. It should just know it, but I have to specify it. That's fine. This other one is going to come from this JSON data. And Python's going to act up on me. There we go. Nope, that says it can't load. That's what I wanted. Should have a tag. We know it's JSON. We know it's trying to load, but it's just not the communication between the two. So in our JSON library, we have a dumps function that will take a Python list, which is what it's thinking this is right now, and convert it to JSON so it can be outputted. So when, just kind of want to show you as you're messing around some of the error message that we get to try and help resolve it, to not distract you from this video and go find it somewhere else, right? But that should take care of the rest. And we get to see what data we have. 27,741 records. Whew, lots of data. So just like up here, instead of doing JSON value, we can use the with statement. I copied a line of data because I like doing this. New line, comma, place it, get rid of those quotes. Oh, come on, that should have done the whole thing. There we go. So like creating these lists, I wish I knew more regex so I didn't have to do this stuff, but hey, this is what we are. Work with what we know. Nice. I also like getting all the white space out, so I have this nice column select list that helps me out. So I can say all of these are going to be UDG generic text at a specific location. So if I have a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a nice column selectable list, I can work backwards and say this is where they're at. This is what we'll call them. Let me go farther back to get this formatted. It's like, oh, those are reserved keywords. Yep, yes they are. Let's stick with adding something in front of it. It says this is a string. Add our commas. One last formatting pass. And run it. So this is what we have. Units, don't know, don't care. ADR, don't know. I do want common stock. So I want to start with common stock and ignore the ETFs basically. So where the type is common stock and str Mike. It's the market identifier code. Who knows? Let's figure out what they are. What's bats? What's the bats mic code? Bats mic code. I don't know what that is. This looks like American Stock Exchange, North American stocks, New York stocks, over the counter, and ATS. Let's figure out what ATS is. Oh, Oh, it's the VIX. I know what this is. Okay. Let's not do that yet. And we don't want no over-the-counters. No over-the-counter stocks. So we have 5,113 stocks that we can choose from, or that we'll want to download at least once. And this is what I'm talking about in the 000 video, is if we have 51 or 5,100 stocks and we are limited to 60 calls a minute, it's going to take us 85 minutes to download all of these stocks, which is going to be an hour and 42 or 1.5 hours. So you imagine that. On the 27,000 stocks on a free API, it's going to take us 8 hours to download all the OTCs and everything. ADRs, units, whatever. And we don't have that much time. So we can start with our 5,100 stocks, get this moved into our group table. So let's see how many of these. Was it symbol? I know where the tenant is. I know the type ID by heart as well, because I've been doing this for quite a bit. So out of all the stocks that we currently have from some other videos, it looks like that we're missing 833 in here. I'm just trying to kind of look over and see if there's anything that, oh yeah, so the new IPOs that came through. I don't have Donut. What's up with me? Sweet. Ooh, no currency. I don't like that. Incomplete data several times. I don't want that data, but we'll take it. Alrighty, so I don't have Squarespace either. Okay. So these are the stocks that we do not have, and for the end of this video, we'll just go ahead and insert this data. Group insert. Because we have to get this data. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm downloading from Yahoo Finance, and that thing is so inconsistent because they don't really tell you the rate limits. I've tried weights, but just a constant Python running, it is not as reliable as I want it to be. So I want to switch over to this, an actual API that should have a better uptime than just downloading data from Yahoo. Group name, we'll do str description. We don't really use the name the name's just there. So we can do the name as the symbol as well. But we do want the symbol itself as the key name. That's what I use a lot. Key name in the system is meant for developers. I don't know if these are different. They look pretty one-to-one so far. So we'll just leave it at that. Just say we don't have any other information here. Next time Yahoo fires, I'm going to get the active on to collect some more data on these 800 stocks that we don't have. Therefore, I'll get the volume data and be able to close these out, remove them from our active list without wasting our precious FinHub API hits. So that would be good. This is going to be good for Monday. It's going to attempt to get all of these other symbols, but there are no classifications to it. Either way, boom. That is that. Took us a little while to get through this video. Sorry for the long one. Kind of more information on to how we're going to be developing and just developing in general. I find it a little bit helpful to get the thoughts of a developer as they're coding, so you can be like, well, why are you doing that? But yeah, on to the next step of setting up and getting our daily data. So hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, soon let's get paid.